let's finish the counterattack. The main thing we'll want to keep an eye on is the power from this attack, this swing. We'll need to pose this just right so that the heroine swings the sword with enough force in order to make this a very heavy attack. So we'll definitely work on that, but before we do, let's go ahead and work on something easier first. Let's work on having the planted foot, this right foot, roll off of the floor as she hops. So what we'll do here is on 17, we'll go ahead and just rotate the toe down so that it touches the floor. So now as we scrub through, we have that very nice hop off of that planted foot. And I'd also like to make sure that it doesn't plant at the same time the left leg does. So let's go ahead and have the right foot plant one frame earlier. I'll just go ahead and drag the key from 22 to 21. Great. All right, so we can now start to work on this attack. Now, keep in mind that on frame 19, this is where the hit happens. So let's go ahead and add an in-between on frame 17, where we throw the arm back for power. So bring it back and also rotate it back in the x-axis, bring it around in the z, and just make sure the arm's extended. While at the same time being mindful of IK locking. I'll go to the elbow control and just bring that in some, since that's arm swinging around, so we'll need to tweak that as well. And here's what we have. Very nice swoop around. Here, let's say we go ahead and work on the hit on frame 19. I drag the key from 2219. And then we can go ahead and just extend the arm. Great. Now when we get to 18, this is a very important frame because again, we want to really feel this impact. So let's go ahead and make sure that there is a drastic change from 18 to 19. Nothing that's too much, but just enough where we get some good speed as the sword finally strikes the villainess. So I'm now looking at the sword's arc as it swoops around. And I'd almost like to drop it in the z-axis on 18 a bit more, and then extend that arm out some. Great. We'll go back to the elbow and just bring that down. And then I'll go ahead and bring the arm out a bit more so it looks to be fully extended. And there we have it, a very nice strike. Great. Now one thing that we can do here is to have the villainess's head turn a bit sooner. Because you can see after the strike, kind of stays in place. So on frame 20, let's go ahead and just rotate her head over. And then we could do the same thing for her neck. Just start bringing that over a bit. Much better. See how that looks as we scrub through? Great. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to start finding what we see after the strike. And then by the next lesson, we can focus more on the follow-through after this. All right, so taking a look here, I'm focusing on the drag from the sword after the strike. And it almost seems as if we can pull the sword over a bit more screen right, so it doesn't seem as if it gets stuck from 19 to 22. And with that said, I'll also rotate it over in the x-axis on 22. Much better. Okay, so moving forward from here, let's take a look. As the sword swoops around, what I'd like to do on 23 is to extend the arm some. And then we can go ahead and rotate the blade up. We're just fixing the flow here. Then I'll bring the blade down some so it's not so high. Okay, great. So we'll scrub through, making sure we like what we see. It almost looks like on 22 we can bring up the blade a bit more here. So again, we have this very nice flow from the sword as it swings around. And on that note, I'd like to have the arm extended on 20. Should still be extended at that point. We're getting hyperextension on 21, so we'll want to tweak that, just bringing it back. You can see sometimes we do need to animate frame by frame to get exactly what we want. Okay, great. And now on 21, I'll go ahead and rotate the blade down slightly so that by the time we get to 22 and 23, it gradually starts to rotate up for some smoother movement. All right, I'd say we're just about finished. We're just taking a look at the upper body. I'd almost like to rotate the character forward on 22 a bit more. It means that we'll need to go back to the arm and extend that out. The reason why we wanted to rotate her forward was because she was a bit off balance. And we don't want a drastic snap from 22 to 23. So that smooths that action out some. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We'll play this back. All right, so take a look at that. We're just about finished. Let's slow the playback down and take a look at this from different views. The top view would be good so we could see the arc in the arm. Great. I'd almost like to go to 23 and just bring that over and extend the arm a little bit more. Much better. So that finishes up our work here. That means that in the next lesson we can start to finalize our heroine's animation.